मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Hari Om. Salutations to one and all. In Kaivalya Upanishad, we saw in the 18th mantra, Bhagavan Brahmaji, he says, Trishudhamasu yad bhogyam, bhokta bhogascha yad bhavet, tebhyo vilakshana sakshi, chinmatroham sada shivaha. In all the three states, Trishudhama, Dhama here means the states, the waking, the dream, and the deep sleep. In that, the entity Bhokta, Mr. So and so, Bhoga, what that experiencer experiences, the object of experience, and then the connection between the two, Bhogya. Bhogya is the object, Bhoga is the experience of subject and object contacting each other. So the experiencer, experienced, and the experience, all the three. The true I is different from all the three. It is the substratum of all the three. Tebhyo vilakshanaha. And what is the nature of that true self? Sakshi. It is the uninvolved, unaffected, uninterested observer. What is the nature of that Sakshi? Pure consciousness alone. And Sada Shivaha, always auspicious. So all the three actually, Bhokta, Bhoga, and Bhogya, are nothing but thought modifications. In that we say that yes, Bhogya, the experienced object, is, we generally think happiness comes from there, but the actual experience, the quality of experience depends on the experiencer. If the experiencer's mind is calm, quiet, happy, then the experience is good. If the experiencer mind is disturbed, even if the object is there, situations are there which are conducive, the experience will still not be happy. So in general, we say that experiencer's mind, experiencer, which is nothing, which is the bhokta, determines the quality of experience. Many people will say it depends on the object. And so one blames other people, objects, situations for one's happiness. If this was not, because this is not there, I'm not happy. Because this did not happen, I'm not happy. Or because this happened, I'm not happy. But that experience quality depends on the experiencer. Here it is going much beyond that. That the experiencer also is nothing but thought modification. It's a bundle of thoughts. Experiencer is not a tangible, concrete entity which is changeless, and the thoughts of the experienced objects come and go. No, experiencer also is just a bundle of thoughts experiencing the world of objects, which is also nothing but experienced by us through thought. and the experience between both of them is also thought, is all thought modification. What is Sakshi doing? What is our true nature? It is separate. Ebhyo vilakshana Sakshi. Chinmatroham. I am only consciousness. This is the contemplation. So when the Mahavakya has been given, Tattvameva Tvameva Tat, that was said in the 16th mantra, after the Mahavakya is given, in this Upanishad specifically, one can understand it as in two ways, that the mantras are expression of a person who has realized the truth based on the Mahavakya. So this is like the experience of the realized person who is sharing. How in the Gita, Arjuna asks, no, what is the state of the Sthita Prajna after a person is established in the truth? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he speak? All that he asks. So what is the experience of the Jivan Mukta after this Mahavakya has been given and one has realized? So that is one way to take these mantras from 17 onwards up to the 24th one, last. Or the second way is, if the person has not yet realized, then these are mantras for contemplation. Steadily one contemplates in this direction that I am Sakshi, I am Chinmatra, I am not the Bhokta, Bhogya and Bhoga, this comes and goes. So these mantras can be for either. They are meant for contemplation, or we say they are meant for, they are expression of realization of the Jivan Mukta. Now, going ahead in this, a 19th mantra now. मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं याति तद्ब्रह्माद्वयमस्म्यहम्. मय्येव sakalam jatam. In me all this is born. Mayi sarvam pratishtitam. In me all this is established, this whole creation. Mayi sarvam layam yati. In me the whole world disappears, becomes unmanifest. Who am I? I am that Brahman. Tad Brahma Advayam Asmiham. Earlier it was said Chinmatroham Sadashiva. I am only Sakshi of the nature of consciousness. This mantra says, I am that Brahman in whom the whole creation rises, stays and falls. Which means the nature of that Sakshi, nature of that infinite consciousness, the self in each of us is that Supreme Brahman. The Atma is Brahman. Tattvameva Tvameva Tat said that very explicitly. Here, two mantras, if we connect, it is an indication. So generally we think I am born into this world. I stay here for some time and then one day I will die. That is called Bahujivavad. Bahujivavad means so many jivas are there and then there is one Ishvara and then there is a Srishti and this is going on, and in that I am born at a particular point in time and I stay and then I die. And that is called Bahujivavad. In that the Srishti is considered as real, Ishvara is separate from me, world goes on even when I am not there. So I am born, I stay, I go, I am temporary, world is going on. Before me also it was there, after me also it will be there. That is one level of understanding. The higher level of understanding is this, that I am not this body, mind, intellect. I am that infinite consciousness in whom the whole worlds rise, stay and fall, but nothing happens to me. Because that's the substratum. Substratum will never be affected by the superimposition. So this is superimposition. The rope can say, in me the snake rises, it stays, it falls. Nothing happens to me. which means this is illusory. Snake is not there, rope alone is. Same way, Tad Brahma Advayam Asmiham, Tad Brahma, I am that Brahman. Advayam, it is non dual. If Brahman alone is and that is non dual, then from where the Srishti came? Then how is it saying that the Srishti stays in me, rises in me, stays in me, falls in me? It only means to say that the truth is Brahman is non dual. If at all you see the Srishti, that's only a projection, it's not real, it's illusory. So then if you see the Srishti from where it came, that source from where the Srishti came, because of which it is sustained and into which it will go back, that is consciousness, that is Brahman. I am that Brahman. So this is the theory of Vivarta, projection. That is creation, where one sees duality. Here one understands, no, this is non-dual. There is only one truth. And the whole thing is projection. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishtitam, mai sarvam layam yati. That is the definition. We should not say definition. That's the way Brahman has been indicated in the Upanishads. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, in that Bhrigu this will come. This portion comes. So the son, he is a disciple, he goes to the father. Bhrigurvai Varunihi Varunam Pitaram Upasasara. And he asks about Brahman. And what is Brahman? So there the teacher, who is his father also, says this same thing, the same definition. That in which the whole creation rises, in which it stays, into which it goes back, know that to be Brahman. And the student has to go and reflect. What is that in which everything rises, stays, and falls? That is food. Annam brahmeti vyajanat. So he thinks and contemplates and he comes back. He says, I understood. Brahman is food. Why? Beings are born because of food. They are sustained by food. At the end, they become the food. He says, no, no. The teacher says, no, that is not the correct answer. Why? No doubt the body is sustained by food. It is, created by as a byproduct of the food that the father and the mother eat, and then it is sustained by the uh, food that the person eats, and then when person dies, it becomes the food. There is no doubt that is where the body is functioning. But I am not that, and this is continuously changing. There has to be some other thing which is behind this to even observe this, which is changeless. The logic we are putting right now in the Upanishad, that is not there. He comes back. He's told, you go back and think. Then he says like that for all the five koshas: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. And the father rejects all. And finally he says it is that which is beyond these five, as the substratum, as the illuminator comes to realize the truth. And then there's a song of realization also. What is the bliss of this realization? So he sings. So what is in the Kaivalya, what is here in Kaivalya Upanishad is more elaborately given in Taittiriya Upanishad beautifully. And it is a conversation between the father and the son, who is also, who are also the disciple and the teacher. What is the level of conversation you see? Even Shvetaketu and Uddalak, father and son, and how the father is such a great rishi, and with the help of, with Upadesh of Tattvamasi, the father has humbled the child before, made him receptive to this knowledge, and given him this knowledge, and given it in very interactive, demonstrative way, which nowadays people say that education should be like that. It should not be rote learning and just memorizing and writing, and it should be participative, interactive, and engaging, and through experiential and demonstrative and all this. It's there in the Upanishads. If you see how beautifully 9 different ways experiments are done and Tattvamasi is taught. So father and son, meaning parents' duty it is to even study, know this Brahman for themselves, realize it, and then give that knowledge to the child. That is the true wealth that the father gives to the child. Such a beautiful thing in the Upanishad when we see. You see, even in Kathopanishad, Nachiketa and his father, there the son is teaching the father. Brilliant it is if you see each of these. So, Mayyeva Sakalam Jatam, Mai Sarvam Pratishtitam, Mai Sarvam Layam Yati, Tad Brahmadvayam Asmyaham. This is called paradigm shift. From the Jiva, one has shifted the identification to Brahman. From the Dvaita to Advaita, straight. Tad Brahmadvayam Asmyaham. I am that Brahman alone. I am not this created or the creation. How much we get threatened by this creation, and we have to prove ourselves and leave a mark here and let people praise us and let people glorify us, then we feel good about ourselves. Vedant says, Are, you are that Parabrahma Tattva in whom the whole creation rises, stays and falls. Ananda is your Swarupa. You don't need anything to be happy. You are nature of happiness itself. Finitude, death, change, all that is the nature of samsara. So it rises, stays, falls. I am watching the witness of the births of creation, sustenance and death of creation, dissolution. So creation, sustenance and dissolution at the multiverse level, one can say, because here it is not said one verse, here it is one is universe. Here it is said, Mayyeva Sakalam Jatam. Everything, you may consider universe or multiverse, whatever it is. This whole thing is what? Projection, appearance on consciousness, which is illusory. The appearance is illusory. But if I contemplate on this, that my nature is that consciousness in which the whole creation rises, stays, falls. I am not this little tiny individuality. What a shift it will bring. What amount of, what we can say, strength, being unaffected. Otherwise, small things in the Srishti will affect us because identification is there. Alexander, when he came to Bharat, Gurudev used to tell this story very nicely. So don't ask me where is the proof of all this. Historically, did this happen? You want proof, you find. I don't know the proofs. I am telling you what I heard from Gurudev. A very powerful story. So this Alexander, he came to Bharat. His teacher, Thorough, he has told him, you bring 3 things from Bharat. You bring Tulsi, you bring Ganga water, and you bring one enlightened being. Tulsi and Ganga water he got very easily. Now, enlightened being, where to get? So he went, he sent his people to search, and they started finding out, inquiring, and then they found that there is one person who is called as enlightened. He is sitting below a tree happily. So they say that come with us. He said, why? He said, Alexander wants to meet you and he wants to take you to Greece. He said, I don't want to come. I am happy here. I don't want to go anywhere. He said, but Alexander, he is the conqueror of half the world. He is calling you. I don't want to meet him. If he wants to meet, tell him to come here. And they got very angry. They say, how dare you say that? You are defying the order of the conqueror. They took him, by force, imprisoned him, put him in the jail. And he is not miserable. He is happy even in that place. Now that Alexander comes and he says, this is what my teacher told me, and I got these two things, and you are supposed to be enlightened. I have to take you to Greece. Come with me. He said, no, I don't want to come. He said, what do you want in return? I will give you whatever you want in return. He says, but I want nothing. He says, I have conquered half the world. I can give you anything you want. Come. He says, if you really want to give me something, I don't really want anything. I don't want to come to Greece. You really want to give me something? He said, yes. And this Mahatmaji, he said, you just move a little because you are blocking the sunlight. Meaning he has no desire for anything. This man can give him any temptation. I'll give you gold, I'll give you land, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. I am the conqueror. He wants nothing. He is fulfilled. Apta Kama is called. All desires are gone. No, nothing. No dependence on anything outside. He says, you just move a little. And Alexander, he gets so irritated and angry. He said that takes it personally as an insult that I am offering him everything. I am telling him to come with me. First of all, he is not coming. He is rejecting my proposal. Second, he is saying that you just move a little and you are obstructing sunlight. What does he think of himself? And he takes out his sword. He says, I will kill you. Then the Mahatma Ji says, very powerful line. He says, even as you see this body drop, I will also see this body drop. Absolutely fearless. There is Alexander is standing like that with his sword and ready to chop off his head. Death. And this Mahatma Ji is fearless. He says, even as you see the body drop, I will see the body drop. That is this. Mayeva sakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pratishthitam, Mayi sarvam layam yati, tad brahmadvayam asmyaham. That which is born, which will stay, which will die, I am only the witness of it. I am not affected in any ways by it. I am infinite consciousness. Just imagine a person who realizes this truth, that I am that consciousness in whom multitudes of creation, Ananta Koti Brahmandas, they are rising, staying, falling. Nothing. One death of this one body, will it affect so much? Countless things are happening every day, rising, staying, falling. How is the ocean affected by countless waves which rise, stay, and fall in the ocean? Nothing happens to the ocean. Same way. If we analyze what is birth, that which was not there some time back has now come into being. So prior non-existence is destroyed and that thing has now come into being. And it is there for some time. So when it is said here, when we say Jatam, Jatam is birth. So birth happens. What was not there has now come into being. It was in an unmanifest form. Now it has manifested. So when that unmanifest becomes manifest, that is the birth. That is what we believe. This is a cycle of creation. It is not every time new creation. The creation is unmanifest, then it comes into manifestation, is there for some time, again goes back into unmanifest state, again comes back into creation. So these cycles and cycles will happen. There is no new creation happening. It continues from where it left. And hence, this birth is, that's why it is from unmanifest to manifest is birth, from manifest to unmanifest is death. It is only become unmanifest. It has not got destroyed. There is a big difference between becoming unmanifest and getting destroyed. In our understanding, we think death is equal to getting destroyed, extinct. It is not like that. It is like going to sleep, everything becomes unmanifest. Again, when we wake up, again we are back to our daily transaction. So, this is applicable to the whole Srishti, including every single Jiva in the Srishti. If the whole Srishti said Sakalam Jatam Pratishtitam Layam, Layam means unmanifest. It is not completely destroyed so that new creation happens. No. Avyakta to Vyakta, Vyakta to Avyakta, and again from Avyakta to Vyakta. This is the cycle that goes on. In that, I am the Sakshi who keeps witnessing. Even when it is there right now, it is very, for us, it appears very tangible, but actually, it is perishing every single moment. That's why the definition of Jagat, if you see, Jayate Gachati, it is born, it dies. Ja is for Jayate, Ga is for Gachati, Ta is for Tishtati Iva, as though it stays. See, actually, Jayate, it is born, then it should say like this, it stays and then it dies. In the definition etymologically, it is Jayate Gachati. It is born and it dies. It born and it dies. In between, it appears to be as though it is there. Actually, it is not there. It appears to be there because of limitation of our senses. Even right now, every single moment, how many cells in this body are born and dying? If we go at the cellular level, then this entire image that we have of ourselves will change. Because of our senses and our limitation, we are not able to see at the micro level the birth and death of cells also, of thoughts also, of things also. We are not able to see clearly because identified with the body, with the senses. Macro level, creation of entire Srishti and the complete laya of it, that also we are not able to see. In between, we are able to see the birth, growth, and death of some of the jivas around us. And then we feel, I will also be born, I am also born, I will also die at some point in time. So that's our identification. Vedanta is telling you shift that. You are that consciousness in whom this whole thing appears, stays, and falls. And from when did it begin? It is beginningless time, it is going on. These cycles and cycles of creation. And nothing has happened to to consciousness. In Panchadashi, Vidyaranya Swami says that Masabda Yuga Kalpeshu Sambideka na Bhidyate. Masa Abda Yuga Kalpa. Measurement of time this is. Month, year, then 4 yugas, no? So each of the Kali Yuga, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, all that. Yuga and then Kalpa is thousands such Chatur Yugis put together is 1 day of Brahmaji. Like that one calculates. One whole lifetime of Brahmaji, 100 years. All that in and through all that. After that, Brahmaji goes to sleep. Means every night of Brahmaji is every day of Brahmaji is 1,000 Chaturyogis. And every night of Brahmaji is also that much time, 1,000 Chaturyogis. One Chaturyuga is 4 lakh 43 lakh 20,000 years. Then when Brahmaji goes to sleep after his day, this whole Srishti has become unmanifest. Then again Brahmaji wakes up, the whole Srishti becomes manifest. And each jiva will get the appropriate field for them to exhaust their karma. Vedanta is saying you are that infinite consciousness from whom this whole Srishti rises, stays, into which it goes back. Brahmaji there is that total mind. This consciousness is beyond that total mind. Brahmadvayam asmyaham, that supreme Brahman where there is no duality, there is no Maya, there is no Srishti, nothing. If at all we see the Srishti, then that Brahman alone is the cause for it. If at all I see the snake, then there is rope which is the cause. So the snake rises in the rope, stays in the rope, goes back into the rope. But the fact is the rope alone is, and there is no snake ever. There never was a snake, there never is a snake, there never will be a snake. Same way, there is no Srishti before, during, after. Brahman alone is Tad Brahmadvayam Asmiham. So this is the shift, this is the thinking that one has to have, and that's the Vivarta. This is an appearance. So Srishti is a illusion, it's a creation which we think is so real and then we get affected by it. If we say this is a projection, this is an appearance, I am Brahman. Whatever kartavya has to be done by this BMI, this individuality, it will do, but I am not this. That stepping back has to happen. And so, once one steadily contemplates on this, Tad Brahma Dvayam Asmiham. Right now it is saying Tad, that Brahman. But that Brahman is this only. Tat Tvameva, what was said earlier. So it's not some far away, okay, some Brahman is like that in whom it rises, stays, falls back. No, no. That is our true nature. And so that's what one has to contemplate. uh, even if we take this at our individual level, right now we spoke at the totality level, the whole Srishti rises, stays, falls in me, the consciousness. Even at a jiva level, if we actually think about it, when this jiva arises, then only the experience of the world is there or not. In the state of deep sleep, jiva bhav is not there. Identification with one individuality is not there. We don't experience world. If jiva is not there, then jagat is not there, then Ishwar also is not there. In deep sleep, none of the three exist. Then when one comes out from that deep sleep state into the into the dream, then the waking. Or somebody comes from deep sleep to waking also, whichever way. The moment that Mr. I, small I rises, then the experience of the world is there. What makes that small I rise? That is past karma, vasanas, all that. But the substratum behind that small I is that self, consciousness. So without consciousness, I will not be aware of the world. So identified with the BMI, I experience the world. Not identified with the BMI, I experience no world. But at all times, whether I experience the world or not, awareness is always there. So we can apply that at whichever level to understand. The mantra proper is telling us what? It is about totality, Brahman. Tad Brahmadvayam asmyaham mayyeva sakalam jatam. But if somebody finds that difficult, then one says, I am this consciousness in whom the thoughts arise, they stay and they fall. You can apply that at individual level in the waking state also, in the deep sleep state, in the dream state also. And one can watch. One powerful exercise Gurudev used to teach us is Om chanting. And he would always say this, that Om is representing waking, dream, deep sleep. So Akara, Ukara, Makara represents the consciousness identified with the waker, which is the waking state, which is waker, is Vishwa. Then Taijasa, then Prajna. So he would say that you chant Om. One method he would tell us is you chant Om continuously and you take it to the peak and halt the mind there. Om, 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 om. That we go on chanting and suddenly you stop. He used to call that as mind has to be benumbed. You benumb the mind suddenly stop. So from many, many thoughts to one thought one has come. That one thought, one goes on saying intensely Om, 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 Om. Stop. It's just a small demonstration I'm doing, but you can do this for a long time where the mind becomes so single pointed, every other thought has gone, and then you just stop that thought. Then who are you? When one realizes, Array, even thought is not there, I still am. We are using words to express, but we don't need words. So that is one thing he used to teach about Om meditation. Second is more subtler. What to do? Slowly chant Om and observe the gap between the two Oms. If we focus on that, you say Om. Now there is a gap. Again after some time. Om. Again focus on the gap. So keep focusing on the gap. Then comes the third, the subtlest one. If these two we have done, then the third one will come. What is the third one? You observe the rise of the sound of Om, how that Om is sustained and how it again goes back into silence. You are that silence in which the sound rises, stays, falls, rises, stays, falls. That silence is never affected by it, disturbed by it. Silence is not absence of sound. Sound has no power to disturb the silence. Silence is there all the time. Whether we pay attention to it or not is a different matter. But silence is never disturbed by sound. To us, through our limitation of our ears, etc., then we feel, Array, there was so much peace and now so much noise is happening and this whole silence is disturbed. It doesn't get disturbed actually. So then chant. As one says, Om, one is watching that this Om is rising, the thought of Om is rising. Then I am chanting it and sustaining it. And now chanting is over. It is gone. Again another Om rises, stays, falls. This, if one does, saying, I am the witness, this mind is doing this chanting. In the mind, the thought is rising, staying, falling, rising, staying, falling. I have nothing to do with this. If we learn this, that's why this is the subtlest one. First two we should do, then this third one can happen. If we are not ready for it, go to sleep. Or the mind will wander everywhere. One will have to put efforts to bring the mind, Om, gone somewhere. Again bring it back. Om, again gone somewhere. The attention on this awareness that I am consciousness, thought rises, stays, falls. Technically, actually, if you think about it, I should not even bother where the mind goes. Suppose I'm chanting Om and the mind has gone to some person called Om, or it has gone to Momo. Because some people remember Momo. If you do ulta of Om, you will get Mom. Ulta of Momo, you will get Om. You keep saying Momo, 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 it will come as Om. Like Mara, 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 Mara becomes Ram. Like that, Momo, 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 Momo. It will become Om, 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 Om. It will become like that. So some people think of Momo, thinking of Om. I will say, Swamiji, we didn't have that thought of Momo in my mind. Now you told us. Now every time we do Om chanting, unnecessarily our mind will go to Momo. That is up to you. The point is, actually speaking, even if the mind wanders, it is mind wandering. What have I got to do with it? Mind did not stay on Om. Mind went to Momo. Om thought, Om is also thought. Momo also is thought. I am not indulging in it at all. The moment I don't indulge in it, it will stop. If it stops, I watch it is stopped. If it rises, I watch it rises. If it wanders, I watch it wanders. That is this mantra actually, in individual application. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishtitam, mai sarvam layam yati, tad brahmadvayam asmyaham. This, if I understand, I am that consciousness in whom the whole Srishti rises, stays, falls. I have nothing to do with it. So why will I even try to control this mind? After a point, there is no need to control the mind. Just to observe wherever it goes. This is all it is doing. It has nothing. I have nothing to do with it. When I say I have nothing to do with it, then I'm not encouraging it. If it goes somewhere, it goes. If it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go. How does it matter to me? This much, if I understand, unaffected by the world. Otherwise, small, small things, then I'm able to observe also, oh, now this attachment is building up towards this person. Now I become alert, so I don't feed it, then it will die on its own. Now this anger has risen. Now this mind is building up this anger. Now it peaked at a point in time and now this anger has reduced. It is gone. If one sees actually it will all go like this only. Up, 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 down, up, down, up, down. It keeps on happening. Even most saddest of the feelings I may have, I lost somebody very dear to me. How long will that feeling last? The intensity of that feeling is there at certain point in time, but it keeps on reducing. Because that is called drishta nashta swabhava. It is jagat. It is very temporary. It just stick out. It appears to stay. It doesn't even stay. As we are seeing it, it is destroying. It is drishta nashta swabhava. As we are seeing it getting destroyed, changed. If I don't understand that, then what happens? I will take it to be real and get affected by it and then feel, oh my God, this happened. Why did this happen? This should not have happened. All reactions will start. Amidst all that reaction, also the consciousness is not disturbed actually. But our focus is not on it. So we get disturbed because we are identified with the object, with the mind, with the body. If I stay apart, all this one will see as a play in the individual as well as in the cosmos. I am that consciousness in whom all this is happening in the whole Srishti, and that same consciousness is here. So even this BMI is acting. So it rises, it stays, it falls. The Jivan Mukta has no connection with it, in the sense, no identification with it. So that is this. Mayeva sakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pratishtitam, Mayi sarvam layam yati, tad brahma dvayam asmyaham. One has to contemplate. I am that Brahman. Or one is experiencing this bliss, so one is just expressing that. Now the Upanishad uses a language of contradictions. And when one reads this, then one thinks, Arey, these people are confused people. They don't know what to conclude. They are saying this also and that also and all contradictory things. And because of some of these mantras, which the people could not understand, many of them, who, especially Max Muller and others, some of them they couldn't understand because Upanishad has to be studied in a parampara with proper teacher. It can't be just you read something and when grammar knowledge one has and then one is sitting and translating the whole Veda and then getting confused also. It can't happen like that. But that's what they did. So some of them they said Upanishads are the blabberings of the rishis in the childhood because they couldn't understand what these mantras say. See this mantra. अनुरणीयानहमेव तद्वत् महानहं विश्वमहं विचित्रम् पुरातनोऽहं पुरुषोऽहमीशः हिरण्मयोऽहं शिवरूपमस्मि Anoraniyan. I am smaller than the smallest. Anu is the word used to see. Anoraniyan. Paramanu is still smaller than Anu. Two Paramanus will become one Anu. Three Anus will become one Trisrenu. Like that, the whole calculation of time will be given based on matter. I will take up that in the next satsang. But point is smaller than the smallest. Anoraniyan. And Mahanaham. Bigger than the biggest. How can the same thing be smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest? Anoraniyan ahameva tadvat. I am the most vast. The whole universe is me. Vishwam aham. And vichitram, most amazing I am. As consciousness, remember. Puratanoham, most ancient. And see, Puratana does not mean we have become old. But Puratana means that which has always been there, changeless. Puratanoham. Purushoham, I am that enlivening consciousness. Ishaha, I am the Lord. Hiranmayoham, I am golden. Hiranmayoham meaning effulgent. And Shiva Rupam Asmi, I am of the nature of auspiciousness. So, why did he say this? Language of contradiction. Smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. Anoraniyan ahameva tadvat. This we will take up in our next satsang. For today, I will stop here. Then the new chain of thought I don't want to start. Mantra we will start next proper again new. The next satsang. Any questions for today? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om